Hello everybody and welcome back once again to another battle report from War Dog Gaming Battle Reports. I bid you all welcome. It is now time for a new chapter in the War Dog Gaming series, namely the chapter called TNQ. We will now enter a new battle report series in preparation and during the next tournament called the Necronomican Quest here in Stockholm, Sweden. A tournament with about 50 attendants that cross over 5 games for 2 days. To this tournament I will once again bring out my rats and I will show you my list right here. Now for this list I have made a list tutorial once again, where I go more into detail about the list and what I expect from it. If you want to know more about it, then I suggest you click on that video first before you start this series. So either you pause now, check in the list here, or you click on my list tutorial. Right guys, if you have already done that, or if you really don't care, then we move on to the next step. So, yesterday, me and a couple of friends of mine met up and had a couple of games, which turned out to be a small and simple mini tournament, where everyone faced everyone. We were 4 people, and we had 3 games. So this battle report will be the first out of those 3 games, and the first practice game before the next tournament. So let's just jump right into it and see who our opponent is this time. Yeah, they are back. They are more pissed than ever, and it feels like I'm repeating myself when I say that. Yeah, those damn bloody, filthy, nasty ogres. Damn bastards. Anyway, yeah, this is the same opponent that I've faced a couple of times before, and I have done battle reports of that. And yeah, he's a really good friend of mine, and we play each other a lot. So yeah, I hope you guys can manage this. This will be a great battle report, I promise. Anyway, on to his list, he has a shaman that is a general, wizard master, path of thaumaturgy, gut roarer with light armor, iron fist, and ritual bloodletter. Mouse high cloak, talisman shield, and Liger's so it's the typical build that he always brings, feels like. And what I fear most here is the Liger's tongue. It's really annoying if him and his unit get into Fat and Friends, for example, since Liger's tongue lowers your attack value with 1. So that will deplete a lot of attacks for me, and I really can't have that. Anyway, moving on, he has a Khan, a bad standard beer. He has the Horde Master build with Brace of Ogre Pistols, banner of, won't even try to pronounce, Obsidian Rock as well. So he's the typical Khan also, and if I will play Ogres, I will build him exactly the same. Really like this build, and this thing that I can't pronounce makes him re-roll once the first turn of combat, which is really nice for Ogres in general. And then he has also a Mammoth Hunter with Troll Eater, Leader of the Pack, Iron Fist, Restless Bat, Dragon Staff, and I find that kit to be really annoying as well. It's a really nice kit, and yeah, he's a really annoying bastard. He has Vanguard, so he goes up 12 inches, and then he moves 14 after that, so he gets behind your line, and then he goes after your back line for your war machines or your monsters or whatever he can get into, and yeah, it's really nasty and really annoying. So I love this build that he has done here, but yeah, I prefer not to go up against it. Anyway, 10 bruisers for core with full command and pen of the Great Grass Guy, which means they have swift stride. And then he has 3 more bruisers with a champion, 3 more tribesmen, then a kin eater, 3 saber-tooth tigers, 2 yetis, all this as chaff mostly. And then for heavy hitters he has 2 Rocks and a slave giant for the great weapon. And that is his list. Okay, so what do I think about the list? Well, I I really like it actually, but I will actually change a couple of things though. If you want to go all out melee, I will prefer to have shamanism actually. I don't see the reason to have path of thaumaturgy here, and also, like you guys maybe already know, I prefer to be a threat in every phase, and what this list lacks is shooting. So the shooting phase is pretty obsolete for this guy. So I will probably take out maybe the Yetis, throw in some Bombardiers, then maybe, let's see now, take out the Slave Giant perhaps and throw in a cannon or something. You need to have some range threat. And yeah, go take out the Giant, take out the Yetis, and throw in either Bombardiers or 2 cannons or whatever you can fit in there. Or maybe 2 Scradiples, something, just to have something as a range threat. Alright. Anyway, guys, let's jump into the battle report and see how it went. So here we have the layout of the table, and as you maybe can see, we are back at my local gaming club. And this game we had as deployment type counterthrust, which means you have 16 inches away from the board edge to go up, and then you have to be 20 inches away from your opponent when you drop your units. And as secondary objective we had secure the target. So we start off by picking some spells, and Forsten, the hungry one, that is my Grace here, he picked Awaken the Rat, Smite the Unbeliever, Hand of Heaven, and Trial of Fate. Then for the fat one, the Plague Pendulum, he took the Rot Within. Yeah, this spell is so awesome against ogres and lizardmen and things like that. That has a pretty weak weapon skill as a default, because with the Pendulum, sorry, not the Pendulum, the Doom Bell, and this spell in combination, then we lower him to a weapon skill of 0, which means that the Plague Monks will hit him on 2s, the Stormvermin will hit him on 2s, he will hit the Stormvermin on 5s, he will hit my characters on 5s and such, and yeah, that's really nasty. Then for my little ogre buddy, he picked Trial of Fate, Cleansing Fire, Smite the Unbeliever, and Hand of Heaven. Alright, then we had the deployment, and it went off like this. We had a roll-off, he won the roll-off, he then picked this side. I picked this side, well, I had no choice. And I told him that I wanted to start deploying. I then dropped my little Plague Sensibilities here. He went then and dropped a kitty here somewhere. I then dropped my Night Runners here. He then dropped a kitty in the forest here, 20 inches away from me. I then dropped more Plague Disciples down here. He then dropped, I think, his Trice and Dart over here. And then I told him, okay, then I dropped the rest. So for my deployment then, we have a Doom Wheel down here, then Plague Sensibilities in the field, Night Runners after that, 2 Plague Claw Catapults on top of the hill. In front of them, some more Plague Disciples. Then we have Fat and Friends with the fat one. I will show you better close-ups. Here we have it. And after that, we have Forsten and his Stormvermin friends. Another Doom Wheel, and then Roger the Rat. And that is my deployment. Better close-up of the Catapult Hill, or whatever you want to call it. Alright, so for my opponent's deployment then. He has a kitty in the forest here, a rock behind that. Then he has a vanguarded mammoth hunter that's going straight for my Plague Pendulum, and a kitty behind that. Then he has his big bruiser block. He couldn't fit them all on top of the hill here because they really didn't want to stand there. And yeah, after that he has a kitty here next to them. Triceman Dart after that, and then I will show you some close-ups. Here you have the kitty and the rock on his right flank. Then in the middle here, the vanguarded mammoth hunter and the rest of his ogres. And then on the left flank, he went really heavy. Poor little Roger. He has a Slay Giant, 2 Yetis, another Bruiser Dart, and another Rock. So, ooh, ouch. Yeah, he's really heavy on the left flank here. And yeah, Here we have a close-up of his nasty giant, looking really grim. Need to eat rats. Alright, so we drop to go first, so turn 1, rats! Okay, so for starters, we had absolutely 0 charges. He frenzy baited my plague sensibilities, but I checked them and I successfully passed that frenzy check. And then we moved up like this. So the thought about this is that we need to sacrifice the poor little plague disciples to that mammoth hunter, unfortunately, because otherwise he will just charge me here or take up my carapace or something, and he will just be a total pain in the ass. So I had to do this. And after that, yeah, well, the doom wheel went up here because he has no targets to shoot at, so he will have a long journey to go up in the middle. Plague sensibilities here just rushed up forward to be ready to flank the rock or something. The night runners goes up to throw with bullets at this poor little kitty in the forest. And then we just shimmied forward the rest here, and I will show you what Roger did. Roger just went straight into the board edge. Yeah, because I can't really go up here. As you guys saw, he has just too much there for poor little Roger. He will just get overwhelmed and totally smashed. So, and the doom wheel went up, so it's 18 inches away from the rock here to start shoot lightnings at it. Yeah, like I said, this is just too much. And here's a better close-up of me chaffing his mammoth hunter. Alright, so then we go into the magic phase. We start off by getting the number 8 spell card, so that means a crap ton of dice. What shall Torsten do with all this power? Power! Yeah, well, the first thing we do is that we throw a Hand of Heaven on this little kitty, and he lets it go, and we get like 6 on how many hits we start off by rolling a 1, but we use the Vermin Swarm item, and then we rolls a 6 instead, so that's 7 hits, and rolls like a 4 or a 5 on the strength, and then just poof, destroys this little kitty. After that, we throw Awakened Rat on his poor little Yetis, and he tries to dispel it, but he fails, and we roll I think pretty low on the first try, and then we re-rolls it and get 10 hits, and we do 7 wounds to them, so they are just dead. Then we try for a Smite the Unbeliever on his big bruiser block, but he dispels that, and that is our magic phase. Then we go into the shooting phase, and as you guys can see, there's no more kitty here. The Night Runners goes up, as sneaky as they are, and then hurl the slingshots at it, and poof, no more kitty. Score 1 for the Night Runners. Then one of the crap throwers hits with a partial hit on this bruiser block and kills off 1 ogre and does another wound, so 4 wounds here. After that, the doom wheel winds up and shoots lightning at this little rock and do 1 wound. Yeah, it's nice. It will have actually been 2 wounds, but I hit once, wounded once, and but he halfens if you do D3 wounds as such. So yeah, that's really a nice ability to have. And that is all for Rats turn 1. So off to Ogres turn 2. Turn 1, what am I saying? Ogres turn 1. So that Rock really got pissed off by getting shot with lightnings and does a charge on my little doom wheel. He's needing an 11. Yeah. He then throws in the Mammoth Hunter into my Plague Disciples, so no surprise there at all. That will probably mean the end of them. Then he rolls for charge distance here on the Rock and rolls like 7 or so on Swift Stride, and that means he fails it and just goes up a couple of inches. After that he shimmies around with his units and doesn't move that much, and then we go into his magic phase, and he starts off getting the number 2 spell card. And the first thing he does is that he gets Cleansing Fire off on the Mammoth Hunter, and I let it go, and then he rolls a 1 on the strength of it, so it has strength 3. After that he tries for a Hand of Heaven or something like that, can't remember exactly what, but I dispel the other spell anyway. And then we go into his shooting phase, and well, he basically have no shooting. He has like an ogre pistol or such on his BSB, and that misses, and then he has a rock that shoots at something and misses as well. And after that we go into combat, and it starts off with him going in here and doing an impact hit or so. At the same time I go in with my toxic hits and do 2 wounds to that Mammoth Hunter, so I was really surprised by that. I rolled 2 6s and he couldn't regenerate them, so yeah, that's awesome. And after that he just punks my little plague disciples before they even get to swing. Yeah, so it looks like this. Poor little rats. So unfortunately we have to stick on this picture for a little bit. He just realigns his ogre to look at my plague disciple. My plague pendulum after this, and that means that I think he's exactly 12 inches away from it. Might have been even shorter. Can't remember exactly what, but I need to take a frenzy check, and that's the whole point with this. So after he has smashed my disciples here, we go into rats turn 2. So like I said, the first thing we do is that we frenzy check the fat one, and I can't remember exactly if I pass it or not, but it ends off with me charging his Mammoth Hunter anyway, because I feel that he's too far ahead and he's threatening my catapults, and yeah, he has positioned himself so well, so I need to take care of him somehow. So I charge in with the Plague Pendulum, and he chooses to flee. He rolls the flee distance and rolls a 3. Yeah, so he totally whips on that. After that I redirect the Plague Pendulum into his Trispan Dart that is up here, and he chooses to flee with them as well, and flees like an 11 or so. He flees really far with them, that as far as I can remember. And then I choose to follow the Mammoth Hunter instead, and I think I need 8 on 2 dice to catch him. And guess what, guys? We do. So bam, we have contact here. And after this it looks really nasty, because you can see now he has lined up both the rock and the big bruiser block to go into my pendulum. And yeah, so we have to since he fled and I catch him, you then get the option to roll for a discipline check, and I have 9 here with reroll, and I do that, and phew, yeah, thank God I passed that discipline check, and then I can realign myself to look at him, so I at least have him in my front. But yeah, I don't know if I'm ready for this already. That's a lot to take in. That will do some major impact, major damage on my little poor rats. Right guys, so after movement for turn 2 rats, it then looks like this. And like I said, the Trisome here are fleeing. And he also threw the kitty behind the hill here, so you guys, I forgot to mention that, but that's basically what he did in his movement, and then just shenanigans the rest, well, realigned everything. And I moved up with everything. I continued the journey with the Doomwheel here, and then I pushed on with the Plague Disciples here, so it's out of the line of sight from this rock trying to threaten its flank. And then Forster and Friends goes up here as well, because the idea now is I know that he will smash into me with all he have here, and then hopefully I can withstand that damage and maybe stick on a stubborn check of 6, 8, 9, who knows what, but hopefully I will stick there. And if I do, then I have lined up myself to countercharge him with both Doomwheel, the Plague Disciples, the Night Runners if necessary, and Torsten and Friends, and then I will probably just smash him after. That's my hope and the idea with all this anyway. So here's a better close-up of the middle. And then also I took Roger the Rat and threw himself backwards a couple of inches and pressed him into the board edge once again, and then also backed off the Doomwheel, so it's now 18 inches away from the rock once again, because it is still too much here for the Doomwheel and Roger the Rat to handle. Yeah, and also what I'm doing right now is just trying to win time. Then we go into the magic phase, and I get the number 7 spell card, so even more power. And what we do in the magic phase is that we get off a Smite the Unbeliever on this bruiser block. But before that, we try first Awaken the Rat on his kitty behind the hill here, because I know that that bastard will go up and shaft me somehow and just be a nuisance. But we roll an 8 on 3 dice, which means we fail it, so that absolutely sucks donkey balls. And think we got 1 dice back, but then we tried a Trial of Fate. He let it go also, and he rolled better than me on the dice roll there, so that also sucked donkey balls. And then we threw the rest of the dice and a warpstone token and rolled like extremely high, and he couldn't dispel this then after. He rolled 6 dice to my 4 and a warpstone token, and I beat him on the dice roll, so yeah, that's great. So maybe this will make him hesitate before going into me, but who knows. Then we go into the shooting phase, and we start off by having my little night runners going up and plinking in a wound on this rock. So hell yeah! Yeah, those little bastards, they keep on doing damage. I just love them. And then the Doom Wheel on the left flank actually goes up and do another wound on this rock, so I'm really excited about that. That's great. But then both crap throwers try to hit this bruiser block, and one of them misfires, takes a wound, and the other one just misses entirely. So yeah, that sucks. It would have been really nice if both of them could hit this. But no, we can't have it all. And after that, we have no combat, so it's off to Ogres turn 2. Alright guys, so turn 2 Ogres, and it goes off something like this. Pow!
And it goes a little something like this.
Ogre mad, Ogre smash. Yeah, he does a couple of charges. Rock goes into the plague pendulum, as no surprise, and the big bruiser block does the charge as well, so yeah. And also this bastard hasn't had enough yet, so he does that 11 charge as well on towards my Doom Wheel. And then both these bastards gets the charge, of course. I think the Ogre block needed a 5 or so, and the Rock was an auto, so yeah. But this poor little asshole fails the charge once again, rolls a 9 or so on Swiss stride, and throws himself up 5 inches, so that's pretty nice. So it's pretty close to my Doom Wheel now. After that, we go into his movement phase, and gets off this bastard of an ambusher, and it puts him behind my catapults, so that will mean the end of them. Unless I can knock him off with some spells or such, but that's really hard. He has like 4 wounds, toughness 5 with regeneration, so yeah, I hate those. Alright, so this is a good overview of the table after his movement. And then, yeah, like you can see, he put up the slave giant a couple of inches more. He re-angled his bruisers to go into the middle. I guess it's because he want to claim the objective or such. And this is from the other angle, and he, yeah, the rest is in combat, as you can see. So then we go into his magic phase. Oh yeah, also really worth noting is that this little asshole of a kitty then shaft storm Torsten and friends. Like you guys can see here, yeah, that really sucks, because I can't really get away from it. I can't get into his bruisers now. Yeah, sucks. Alright, for his magic phase, he gets number 7 spell card, so it gets a lot of dice. And as for excitement, we need to stay on this picture for a while. And okay, so he has one important spell that I really want to get off in this magic phase, and that is Mighty Unbeliever to lower the strength on my Plague Monks, and I really can't let him get that off. So I save all my dice for that. He starts off throwing, what is that now again, that breath weapon on his BSB. I let it go. He rolls a 1 on the strength, so once again it's strength 3. And then he, I don't think he tried for anything else. He went 4 dice for Smite and Believer on my Plague Monks, and I threw all my dice at it, and since I also have magic resistance 3 on these units, it's really hard to get it in, and I cracked him on the dice roll, so that's nice. Then we go into shooting phase, and well, he has no shooting, everything is in combat or has tried charge, so then we go into combat. And yeah, we have to stick on this picture for a couple of seconds more. So the combat, it goes off like this. He goes in and does a couple of impact hits. I think the rock roll a 5. He does then he rolls 2 1s on the damage, so he only kills 3 of me. But then the bruiser block. Oh man, this hurts so much. He rolls like on both characters a 3, and I think he wounded me with all of that as well. And then the regular bruisers goes in and does impact hit or so as well. He wounds with it all. Then the BSB goes and he rolls like a damn dice god on crack and it does maximum wounds with the BSB on my block. I also, worth noting, did a challenge with the pendulum and he accepted with his champion. And the champion then he did an impact hit actually on the pendulum, and I saved that though. Anyway, his shaman went on as well, killed a couple of rats as well. He just totally destroyed my poor little rat unit here. I then went back with the pendulum to his champion and smashed him with max overkill, so worth 6 points then. And then I went back and killed, like, let's see now, I think I killed 3 ogres as well. I'm gonna check 1 second. No, I killed 2 ogres and the champion. The reason is though because he has the fucking Liger's tongue. That item is so damn annoying. Yeah, alright. He really halvens my combat potential. Yep. Alright, anyway, he killed in total, I will show you guys. This. That is 29 rats. Oh fuck, that hurt so much. Anyway, so we need an 8 with reroll to stick. And do you think we get it? Guess what? Hell yeah, we did! Celebrate good times, come on! Alright, so that's the end of the Ogre phase turn 2. That means Rats turn 3, and prepare yourself now, the vengeance will come. So we start off by throwing in a couple of charges. We needing a 7 here with the Plague Disciples into the Rock's front, and then we're needing a 10 on Swift Stride into the Rock's flank. Then we tried to terror check the kiddie here, but he's close to both the general and the BSB, and he passes it, so that sucks. But Forsten goes in there anyway. Then we also had enough of that damn cow trying to go into me, and we threw the doom wheel into it instead. I prefer to charge than get charged by a rock. And also after that we threw in Roger, but he failed that. Well, he doesn't have a charge, but he failed his random move into the rock, needing a 13 on dice, and he rolled a 10 or 11, I can't remember exactly. Yeah, so he just planted himself there. But then, look at this. All charges was successful. So hell yeah! Time to fuck up some ogres. Here you can see the stormworm going into the kitty. Poor little kitty. Alright, so then we go into the magic phase, and exactly what we needed. The worst card in the deck. Hell yeah, in such an important phase as this. And the first thing we do is that we threw Rot Within on his bastard ogres here, and also we rang the bell, so ding dong 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 dong. And both the bell and the Rot Within was successful, so that means the ogres here has a weapon skill of 0 now, except for the characters of course. And then we tried for a Smite the Unbeliever on them, 4 dice with a Warpstone token I think it was, but he dispelled that, so yeah, that sucks. He has also magic resistance on them, so it's quite hard to get things in on them as well. Then we go to the shooting phase, and we have no shooting since everything is in combat, so off the combat. And we start off with this combat, and just destroys the kiddie and overruns into his tribesman block. Then we go to this combat and totally bounce on the rock, not exactly what I expected. We overload the lightning, so we have strength 6 lightnings, but we roll 1, 1, 2 on the lightning strikes, and then rolls in 1 on the impact hits and doesn't wound him. Yeah, so that was a total whiff fest. And then he went back and did 1 wound to me, so we just, so it's just a push here. So then we go into this clusterfuck of a combat, and the most important part. Alright, so the first thing we do is that we go with impact hits into Rock and do 1 wound, and then we go in with the toxic hits here from the Plague Disciples and do 2 more wounds to him, so he's then down to 2 wounds left. And then we swing with all the Plague Disciples and just totally smashes this Rock, so he's dead. And then we go with the Plague Pendulum. We doesn't say challenge this time either, and kill a couple of ogres with him. And then he goes before me with the characters, I think it is, or at the same time maybe, and kills a couple of rats of me. Well, actually he kills all plague monks. And then I go back with, well, at the same time as him with the plague monks and all that, and kill a couple more ogres, so we just totally destroy each other. And then I actually win this combat with 1 or 2 or something like that, but he has killed all my plague monks, so it's just the pendulum and the BSB left, so he is steadfast on a rerollable 8, and he passes that. So then it looks like this, and I overrun with the Doom Wheel, of course, into the flank of his ogres. So yeah, that will start a new combat for him. Then we go off to Ogres turn 3. From another angle here, and what he does first is that the damn gorge down that he ambushed the turn before goes into my catapult, and then he also charges with his slave giant into Roger. I will show you here. He takes the slave giant into the flank of Roger. I thought this was a bad idea of him because I am stubborn leadership 8, so even if he wins the combat I will probably stick. It's, well, yeah. I think that Roger will actually just destroy that giant. That's my feeling. And yeah, here's the bastard Gorger. Yeah, and as no surprise, he destroyed one of the catapults and then overran into the other. And here's the slave giant going into the flank of Roger. Then we go into his magic phase, and it looks like he gets the number 6 spell card, so another good card. And what he does is that he throws once again that breath weapon onto his BSB, and this time he rolls a 5 or something like that, so he has strength 5 on the breath weapon, which sucks. And then we go into combat, and yeah, I will tell you guys what happened here. Okay, for starters, the giant goes into Roger, and he does impact hits first. I think he did like 1 wound maybe or so, maybe nothing, can't remember exactly what. Then I go before him, since he has a great weapon, and I do 3 or... no, I think it did 4 wounds to him or such. What I remember is that he won with 1 in that combat. So he did 2 wounds to me, has a charge and a flank and a big flank, so that's 5, and I did then 4 wounds to him. Yeah, so exactly, so he won with 1. And then I do my break check, and I of course fail it. I rolled boxcars, which I am actually renowned to do all the time. And then I flee, and since I flee with 3d6, and I rolled higher than he did, I then overran into my Doom Wheel and did maybe an impact hit to such on the Doom Wheel, I can't remember what, but think he failed those rolls. And then I go before him, and I took all I had, the grinds, everything into the giant, and just totally destroyed him. So he went in and gave me 3 in combat dress, and then he went with the the rock and did 3 wounds to me, so I'm now down to 1 wound left, and it's a push once again here. And yeah, well, that happened actually in my face, but that bastard kept on cleaving through my backline. Fuck that asshole. So we went into this combat, and I absolutely smashes his ogres. He has 1 ogre left with like 1 or 2 wounds left. And after that we restrains and looks at his ogre block in the middle instead. So it looks like this. Then we go into the combat here, and I challenge with the BSB, he accepts with his shaman, the shaman punks my BSB. I then go in with the pendulum and kills a couple of ogres. The Doom goes in and totally whiffs with impact hits, and I think it killed like 1 ogre maybe. It was really poorly here. And then he went back and threw his breath weapon on top of the Doom Wheel and did 4 wounds to it. And then he went back and tried to punch it as well, but well, he did in total 4 wounds to the Doom Wheel, and he did nothing to the pendulum, and he won with 1, maybe, no, 2 actually here in this combat. And I rolled first panic check for the Doom Wheel, fails it, needing a 5, and then it flees off, and then I have a stubborn check on a 6 here, and I pass it. Yeah, so then we go into Rat's turn 4. So then it looks like this in Rat's turn 4, and yeah, we just take everything into the Ogres. They are about to get wrecked. So 4 standard charges, Plague Disciple charges. After that we try to rally the Doom Wheel up here and fails it, and then it gets destroyed from dangerous terrain in the forest, so the Doom Wheel is gone. Too bad. But what rally though is Roger. Roger rallied on an 8 down here, so that's really nice. And after that we go into the main phase, and we get the number 4 spell card, so another nice card. And what we try to do is that we try to get Smite the Unbeliever off on these guys, which we successfully does. And then we throw a magic missile as such on this tribesman fleeing down here, and do 1 or 2 wounds or such to him. I think we actually kill it off outright, and that's it. Then we go into the combat phase, and the Doom Wheel whiffs again. I think he did 1 wound to him this time with like a grind or such. And then he destroys the Doom Wheel and just looks at Roger, which sucks. And then we go into this clusterfuck of a combat, and we just kills him down to a single ogre. He has no ogres left. We kill him before he gets the swing. Yeah, so that's really nice. And that's it, guys. Then we go into Ogre's turn 4. And yeah, he starts off by throwing his rock into Roger here, charging me. Then this bastard of a Gorger tries a long charge. He's needing a 12 on 2 dice, but he's on the hill, so he has a reroll, but he actually gets it on the first try, so into my Night Runners that is guarding the secondary objective. So yeah, fuck that Gorger. I hate those guys so goddamn much. I really do, with a burning passion. Alright, so he doesn't have any magic and he doesn't have any shooting, and yeah, we have to stick to this because I need to tell you what happens. He goes in, he gets like 7 or such on impact hits, I think it was. Anyway, he does 7 wounds to me on the impact hits, and I regen 4 of them, so I take 3 wounds from the impact hits. Then he goes in with the ogre that swings at the same time as Roger, and he gets 1 wound on me, but I regen that, so I am down to 1 wound now. And then I go back and I roll like 15 on hits. Then I start to hit him. I hit him 12 times and I do 8 wounds. So I totally destroyed that damn rock. I was like, oh yeah, thanks, feeding me a rock. Nice dinner. So then it looks like this. Roger has 1 wound left, but he's he's pretty happy about that. Right, so the last thing we do in, well, not last, but what we do in turn 5 rats is that we charges this tribesman that was left. He had like 1 wound left or such. He actually rallied up here. And yeah, he stuck with it, and we charges in and kills it, which makes his bruisers here take a panic check since they are 6 inches away from it, and he fails that and starts to run towards the board edge. He then, as no surprise, actually killed off my Night Runners. He did a couple of wounds to them, but I did, before that, actually did with the catapult 1 wound as such, and did 2 wounds with the Night Runners, so he has taken 3 wounds in general. And he has 1 wound left, so he's worth half points. But yeah, he just keeps on going up here. And here ends the game, because that bruiser block rallied in his last turn. I think it was straight towards the board edge, or so but I still got half points from it because I threw a couple of spells on it. And I get half points from the Gorger here, but then I just after smashing his ogres up there in the last turn, I went back and claimed the objective with Torsten and friends, and that's about it. So I get the objective, and I have Forster and friends left, the fat one unscathed, 1 plague disciple dart, and Roger with 1 wound left, and that's about it. And what he has left is a half of a Gorger and half the bruiser block. That's it. So let's see what the result went like. That's right, once again it's a 119 to the Vermin Swarm against the same opponent. It was, let's see now, 416 on the score, but then we add and subtract the secondary objective, which means it is a 119. So 19 points to the rats. And I have to say a big thank you to my opponent. It was a blast playing against him again. As always, I really enjoy playing with this guy. It's always hilarious. And guys, I hope you like this video. If you do, then please press the like button and help spread the word. I really thank you for it. Otherwise, guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, then please feel free to do so if you wanna. Otherwise, guys, and I say to you all, have a good one, and until we see each other the next time, peace.